All right, Shalom. I want to first start off giving all praises, honor, and glory unto Yahweh, Bahasham, Yahweh Shai, Bahasham, Rakar Kwadash. Double honors unto the apostles, as well as the men that taught our apostles, the elder high priests, as well as the elder bishops at Great Millstone. Peace and blessings unto the 144,000 and the rest of the elect of the nation of Israel. This is the brother Abadia from the GMS Houston camp. And I'm going to title this video, The Apostle Paul was filled with the Holy Spirit. The Apostle Paul was filled with the Holy Spirit. Okay? And I'm going to go through the scriptures and show what that means. Because you have this group, Sakari, headed by Chief Priest. He calls himself Chief Priest Eleazar. All right? Or Eleazar Bun Lawyer. Okay? And their stance ultimately is that Paul, the writings of Paul, the epistles of Paul, the Apostle Paul, the epistles of the Apostle Paul, he was going off in them, and that he had a lack of understanding. That was brought out by the guy that was speaking in the video, Sakari Southeast, when they were going back and forth with a Christian. Okay. So they believe that the writings of Paul are not the words of the Lord. Ultimately, though they will go and cherry pick certain scriptures to make certain points, right? But overall, they don't they don't credit the understanding, credit that Paul, had understanding in his epistles. Okay, that Paul had a lack of understanding. He was going off. He had got corrected according to Sakari and rebuked. Okay, so Lord willing, this video is edifying. I'm gonna go through some stuff that we already know, but just highlight certain parts of these accounts to show that Paul was filled with the Holy Spirit. And if Paul was filled with the Holy Spirit, what does that mean? Okay, so this is Acts chapter 9, verse. We're gonna start at. Okay, we're gonna start at verse 10. Acts 9 and 10, and this is right after Paul received his sight. Paul went 3 days without sight after being knocked to the ground through the brightness of the sun and blinded for 3 days. Okay, that's actually the verse above. All right, so it says, and there was a certain disciple at Damascus named Ananias, and to him said the Lord in a vision, the Lord Yahushai. Okay, this is who came. So Yahushua came to Ananias in a vision. And he said, behold, I am here. I am here. And he said, behold, I am here, Lord. You see, this is in the vision. And the Lord Yahushua, because this is said unto him, arise and go into, let me start that over. And go into the street, which is called Straight, and inquire in the house of Judas for one called Saul of Tarsus, for behold, he prayed. Yeah, so Paul was in prayer after being blind, or during and after. It says, and had seen in a vision a man named Ananias coming in and putting his hand on him that he might receive his sight. And Ananias answered, Lord, I have heard by many of this man how much evil he had done to thy saints at Jerusalem. So, Ananias was, iffy about this, about and going to the Apostle Paul, okay, and laying hands on him and say, hey man, this man, been capturing Israelites that believed in Yahweh Bashem Yahushai, okay, and bringing them back to court to be judged one way or the other. A lot were put to death, okay. So it says, a lot of believers, or the believers were put to death, okay, believers in Yahushai. So Acts 9:12, and had seen in a vision a man named Ananias coming in and putting his hand on him that he might receive his sight. And then Ananias answered, Lord, I have heard by many of this man how much evil he had done to thy saints at Jerusalem. And here he hath authority from the chief priest to bind all that call on thy name. But the Lord Yahushua said unto him, Go thy way, for he is a chosen vessel unto me to bear my name before the Gentiles, Israelite foreigners, okay? Israelites in a Gentile state of mind, not actual Gentiles, and kings and the children of Israel. Because the Apostle Paul, after this point, okay, he came in the name of Yahushai, Yahweh Bahasham Yahushai. All right, Acts 9:16. For I will show him, Yahushua will show the Apostle Paul, how great things he must suffer for my name's sake. And Ananias went his way and entered into the house, and putting his hands on him, said, Brother Saul, this is the Apostle Paul, the Lord, even Yahushua, that appeared unto thee in the way as thou camest, had sent me, that thou mightest receive thy sight and be filled with the Holy Spirit. So you see, Yahushua commissioned Ananias to go lay hands on the Apostle Paul, okay, and bring about the Holy Spirit upon him, fill him with the Holy Spirit. Let's read it again. Acts 9:17. And Ananias went his way and entered into the house, and putting his hands on him, said, Brother Saul, the Lord even Yahushua, that appeared unto thee in the way that thou camest, has sent me, that thou mightest receive thy sight and be filled with the Holy Spirit. So Paul was filled with the Holy Spirit. And I'm reading it out of the scriptures. Okay? Okay, now I'm going to jump down in this same chapter for the sake of time and do some more reading to show that Paul was filled with the Holy Spirit. So this is Acts chapter 9, and I'm going to start at verse 26. Acts 9:26. And when Saul was come to Jerusalem, okay, so Paul, at this point, he went to Jerusalem. What? That's the head church under the authority of Peter, okay, John, James, John, all right, and the rest of the apostles, okay. the rest of the 12. It says, he essayed to join himself to the disciples, but they were all afraid of him and believed not that he was a disciple. Yep, a disciple of Yahushua. He came under the teachings, that he was coming under the teachings of Yahushua. But Barnabas took him and brought him to the apostles. Okay? So, and declared unto them how he had seen the Lord in the way. So, this is Barnabas speaking up for the apostle Paul and saying, of the works he witnessed, he's going to go into the works that he witnessed Paul doing. And when you read up in this same chapter, after Paul got his sight back and was filled with the Holy Spirit, okay, it say he straightway preached Yahushua in the synagogues, right? So going back in Acts 9 and 27, this is what we're reading. Paul's speaking up on the behalf of the Apostle Paul, letting them know what we're about to read. Because they like, damn, he was just destroying the church. He was now he believes, or it was, you got to put yourself back at this time and think how, how they had to be thinking about this situation, you know? So this was like a super duper heavy time, and the spirit was real heavy at this point where we're reading. It says, Acts 9:27, but Barnabas took him and brought him to the apostles and declared unto them how he had seen the Lord in the way, the Lord Yahushua, and that he had spoken to him, and how he had uh, preached boldly at Damascus in the name of Yahushua. And he was with them coming in and going out at Jerusalem. And he spake boldly in the name of the Lord Yahushua and disputed against the Grecians, but they went about to slay him. It says, which when the brethren knew, they brought him down to Caesarea, and sent him forth to Tarsus. Then had the churches rest throughout all Judea and Galilee and Samaria, and were edified. So this is what the apostle Paul was doing. He was edifying, right? And walking in the fear of the Lord Yahweh Bashem Yahushai, and in the comfort of the Holy Spirit, and the comfort of the Holy Spirit were multiplied. So what? Men were being edified and brought into the fold of this faith of truth through the Apostle Paul, and it's telling you through the Holy Spirit. We can't forget that Paul was filled with the Holy Spirit. This is what we're reading about. Now, from here, I want to go to Acts, the 13th chapter, and read verse 1 through 4. All right. So it says the heading of this chapter is, now it doesn't say Paul, it says first missionary journey. Paul's first missionary journey. All right, Acts 13:1. Now there were in the church that was at Antioch certain prophets and teachers, as Barnabas and Simeon, that was called Niger, and Lucius of Cyrene, and Manaen, if I'm saying that name correctly, which had been brought up with Herod the Tetrarch and Saul, and they ministered to the Lord Yahweh Shem Yahushai and fasted. The Holy Spirit said, separate me. Well, let me start over. It says, as they ministered to the Lord Yahweh Shem Yahushai and fasted, the Holy Spirit said, separate me, Barnabas and Saul, for the work whereunto I have called them. You see that? So through the spirit of Yahweh Ba'Shem Yahushai Bahasham Rakah Kodash, all right, this is happening right here where Barnabas and Paul and the Apostle Paul are going to be separated to go and push the word, okay, for the work, to do the work, teach the understanding of these scriptures, the understanding of Yahweh Shai, all right. Acts 13:3, and when they had fasted and prayed and laid their hands on them, hands were laid on who? On Barnabas and the Apostle Paul. Then sent them away. And when they had fasted and prayed and laid their hands on them, they sent them away. Let me read it right. So they, being sent forth by the Holy Spirit, departed unto Seleucia, and from thence they sailed to Cyprus. You see, it says, so they being sent forth by the Holy Spirit. And when they were at Salamis, they preached the word of Yahweh Shem Yahushai in the synagogues of the Jews, and they had also John to their minister. And when they had gone through the Isles onto Paphos, they found a certain sorcerer. Okay, that was the point. The point was I want to stop at verse 4. Excuse me, I'm reading on. All right. So it says in verse 4 again, they being sent forth by the Holy Spirit. So when they were going on the first mission, when Paul went out to the his main focus was to go in. His office was magnified onto the Gentiles, the Israelite, which are the Israelite foreigners, Israelites in a Gentile, or that at that time were in a Gentile state of mind. Just like we all came out of a Gentile state of mind. Same situation. Now from here, I want to go to the book of John, St. John. And what is this? And I'm going to bring out the 26th verse to get straight to the point. Okay? So what does it mean if Paul had the Holy Spirit? Okay? If he had the Holy Spirit upon him, what does that mean? If he was filled with the Holy Spirit, what does that mean? Let's read it. St. John 14:26, it says, but the Comforter, which is the Holy Spirit, okay, whom the Father will send in my name, in the name of Yahushai, the Holy Spirit will be sent in the name of Yahushai, is sent in the name of Yahushai. He shall teach you all things and bring all things to your remembrance, whatsoever I said unto you. Now, Yahushua was talking to the 12 apostles at this time, Okay? But this applies ultimately to the elect. Okay? And it applies to the Apostle Paul because we just went into the scriptures and read that Paul was filled with the Holy Spirit. That Paul was preached in the name of the Holy Spirit. In the name of Paul preached the Apostle Paul. I've been saying Paul, excuse me, the Apostle Paul was preaching in the name of Yahweh, Bahasham, Yahweh Shai, Bahasham Rakak Kodash. Okay? So that means that Paul couldn't have lacked understanding. Paul couldn't have been going off and writing the epistles at no point, because immediately after he was converted, so to speak, okay, his mind was changed, okay, by Yahweh Shai, by Yahweh Bashim Yahweh Shai. Okay, that all happened through the Holy Spirit, and then he was filled with the Holy Spirit. So Lord willing, the edification came out of this video. I'm gonna end right here, and on to the next one. Shalom.